Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. This is your preview for the Man United game versus Manchester City in the Community Shield. The FA Cup winners versus the Premier League winners, and it's a Manchester derby. That's enough sauce in the pan for me. And I'm just happy to speak about actual real-life competitive football rather than transfers and setbacks and blah, blah, blah. So really, really happy about this. Now, both teams have had a mixed pre-season, with crucial first-team players missing who do not feature on their respective tours. So a little bit laggy for both teams in that respect. And this could end up being a real mixed bag of a game. So what are you expecting from this, Sam?
If you just take your XLR out and put it back in, because I can still hear it, and just see what you can fix on that, and I'll answer the question. Yeah, it's for me, it's a glorified friendly. Like I just think I'm not that arsed about it. If we lose, if we do end up on the losing side, I'm not that bothered. If we win, obviously I'll be happy because we beat City. It's a nice little way to start the season. It's always enjoyable. But for me, yeah, it's just a pre-season friendly. I think it's a bit worrying because we haven't got a lot of our transfers over the line and the players that we need. We've got a couple of players out injured, like key players who we thought would be starting the season. And I'm still worried about that midfield and City, despite losing a player for 80 odd million in Julian Alvarez, they don't look any weaker, really, because they've got a fucking ridiculous team. So, yeah, I don't expect us to win it. But to be honest, I'm not that bothered. I'm more bothered about the game the week after at Fulham. That's the one that's going to worry me. That's the one that's going to do my head in if we do lose.
Is my audio okay just before I finger?
Still sounds the same to me. But...
Well, does it sound like electronic or what?
Yeah.
What's the crap that's going on? Electronic.
Yeah. There's a change voice button. Have you pressed that?
No. I don't think so. People who are watching now are like, what the fuck is going on here? So if anyone wants to see it, I've basically bought a new mixer, so the audio quality could sound better. It's obviously not working at the moment, but I'll press this, and you guys can be my audio engineers live in the flesh. So I'll press this.
Any better?
Go on and speak for me.
One, two.
Oh, that's so much worse.
It's worse.
You're on mute now. I hear you now. Now you're gone completely now. I'm next sorting this out. How are we all in the chat? I can't hear you, Nick. You're gone completely. Why Nick sorting that? I'll read some comments out anyway because Nick's voice went absolutely ridiculous there. So here we are. We're gonna do De Gea on a free, Johnny Evans and Victor in defence, in the middle, Casemiro with Scott, Aram Saka right back, and Patrice Evra. It's a lot of names past there, please. Up front, Rash, Bruno, Anthony. Oh God, I hope not. Please no. No, you're still on mute, Nick. Still on mute. I still think I should get the Eric Ten Hag job. I mean, if you're gonna work like that, Richard, it's probably not going to get it, mate. Evening, lads. It's a derby at Wembley. That's a trophy for the fans in itself. Will be nice to see the team as we were at. What else we got? Yes, it's a derby against 38, 115 cheaters. It's a Community Shield, but still want to beat them. Absolutely. Still can't hear Nick. I don't think he's fixed it. Okay, he's looking. Turned into Darth Vader there, pal. Please keep that voice. People want you to keep the deep voice. That was funny. Go on.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Right, fucking hell, Jesus Christ. I'm definitely just going to save that, and I'll any sound issue, I'm going to sort out after this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just going to be the usual sound for now until we sort the mixer. Where was we up to? We're just reading comments.
I was reading comments after I answered your question. People liked the voice change thing. They enjoyed it.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad I'm here for your entertainment. That's what I'm here for. Right, so let's discuss Manchester United then, Sam, because, look, you can only go off your last competitive game. And guess what our last competitive game was? It was, of course,
City.
The final against Man City, and we slapped them. Now, can we take anything from that game, do you think? Or with it being so long ago now, or at least it feels like fucking years ago, do you think the lads will take anything from it?
I'm sure the lads will. I'm sure the lads will be like, yeah, we've beaten before in a final at Wembley. when nobody expected us to, which is pretty much the same as we are now. I would argue the squad is now weaker than it was for that final. City's is weaker, but only by one player, and it doesn't really matter, does it? Like Julian Alvarez, like he's a great player, but he was a backup at the end of the day. He wasn't.
Fucking great backup at that.
A fantastic backup, ridiculous player, but he wasn't a main man. He wasn't a De Bruyne. He wasn't an Erling Haaland type. So they are pretty much in the same position. I don't think they got any injuries, as far as I know. I don't know of any. Obviously, I don't follow them as closely as I do United, but yeah, I think we're a worse off position going into that final as we are going into this because we've lost Rasmus Højlund, we've lost our star signing Lenny Yoro. Players like Xerxes are not up to scratch. Neither is Garnacho, Bruno, people like that. They've only just been in training for a week, and we've lost Varane. So arguably, I would say we're in a worse off position.
Yeah, absolutely. On individuals, I thought Ahmad, Mount, Rashford. I know you disagree with the Rashford thing, but I personally thought they all looked bright in pre-season. Do you think Ten Hag will go with form or trusted players?
I think it's a combination of the two. I think you got to look at fitness, aren't you? Obviously, Rashford, Ahmad, Mount, Casemiro have all had minutes on pre-season, playing most of the games, whereas people like Bruno, Garnacho, Diego Dallo haven't. But then at the same time, it's like, is he really going to play Wan-Bissaka if he's heading out the door? Surely he's going to chuck Dallo in there. And it's just like, then you got to look at the left-hand side. It's like, is he going to give it to Harry Amas? That's a lot. That's a lot to ask of the kids. But it's like, then do you chuck Luke Shaw straight back in after he's barely played football? So there's a lot of question marks to answer there, man. Like, it's going to be interesting, his team selection for sure. I think there's going to be a combination too. There's going to be some players like Ahmad who have to be in there on form, and there's going to be others where it's just like necessity dictates that they play because we haven't got other options.
Yeah, I have to say I am worried, especially defensively. I think from the front we can press very well. We can shift the ball quick. If you've got Mount, Bruno, Rashford, whoever it is in there, I'm not entirely worried. Maybe a little bit with the striker, but we've seen Bruno be effective as a false nine against City before, so that part I'm not worried. But if Maguire and Casemiro start, which they most likely will, and they are a part of that spine, there's mistakes and ground to be eaten up in there with them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Casemiro looked terrible in pre-season. Like, he looked great going forward with his passing. He had some nice passing, but backwards and trying to defend and sort of stop that counter press, especially in the Arsenal game, he looked abysmal, just absolutely abysmal. So yeah, that worries me because we saw the midfield get passed through and we saw him get dropped in the FA Cup final for good reason, because he wasn't going to be able to deal with that City press or that City counter turnover when they're passing the ball through midfield. And Amrabat came in. Don't have Amrabat either. So we can't even play that card. So that's not even an option. We haven't got Awate's off the table. We're looking at players, but I doubt any of them are going to be in before Saturday. So again, worse off position in the midfield as well.
I would argue that one performance against City in the FA Cup final really was like everyone at the best with no mistakes, and it was
unavailable.
Unavailable, yeah, top elite level performance. The only extra we've got is Xerxes off the bench, and he's only just really started training with the lads. You can't put too much weight on him or expectation. It's nice to have that kind of option off the bench, and others depending on who starts. You could have Sancho, Mount, Xerxes, players like that off the bench, which is nice to have. So selection wise, it's not too bad, but I just think the core of the squad, that's what I'm worried about. But look, it's a community shield. Would you call it a glorified? What do you call it?
Friendly.
Glorified friendly, which I absolutely understand. But what I will say is, Sam, even just winning it and getting into that mentality and having beat City, at least could be used as a springboard then for the start of the Premier League season.
No, absolutely. Like, I want to win it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we played Liverpool in pre-season. Essentially, the game didn't matter, but I want to beat them because Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I hate them, so I want to beat them. It doesn't matter whether it's on at 3 a.m. in another country. If we're playing Liverpool, I want to beat them. Same with City. Like, it's a glorified friendly, and there's no negatives to winning it. There's no negatives to beating them. There's no negatives to sort of like winning the trophy. Like, it's all positive. But I think that the thing I hear on is the side of, if we lose, our season's over and we're terrible and it's fucking done.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that happen before. Liverpool beat City in the Community Shield a couple of years ago. They still won the league. Still, I think they won a treble, I believe. I think it was the year they won the treble. So I wouldn't read too much into it if we did lose. Obviously, if it's a smacking, it's going to hurt a lot more. Like it's going to sting, just because it's City and I don't want to see us concede a lot of goals. But yeah, for me, losing's not that. It's not going to hit me that hard. But winning, yeah, like you said, is a positive, and it can only help us going into the season.
It all depends on the teams, doesn't it? What quality, what level of quality is out there, because we just don't know. With City in particular, I mean, United, you could probably guess the majority of them. But with City, I don't have a clue. But we'll talk about City in a moment. Just a couple of stats here for anyone who wants to feel a bit more positive about the game. There's some nice stats for United. So, Man United's 21 Community Shields is more than any other side, including victory in each of their last 4 performances. This will be the 3rd time that City and United have met in the Community Shield. United have won both previous matchups, 1-0 in 1956. Wow. Maybe, Richard, you might remember that one. And 3-2 in 2011 as well. Of the past 8 occasions that the Community Shield has been between previous season's champions and FA Cup winners, the team to have won the FA Cup has won the Shield 7 times, with the exception being City's 2-0 win over Chelsea. And here's your last stat. This is the 4th consecutive year Manchester City are appearing in the Community Shield, though they failed to win the trophy in 2021, 22 and 23. So anyone who likes good omens rather than bad omens and is more of a half glass full, is it? Does that mean you're pessimistic or optimistic, right?
Yeah, optimistic.
Yeah, so any half glass full, there's your stats for you, and we can take that as some positivity going into the game. Now, Manchester City
are also notoriously slow starters in a season.
Yeah,
takes them a while to get going and get up to speed. But the problem is, once they are, it's very hard to stop. It's very hard to stop them, and they don't normally stop. So.
Yeah, they are a machine. But in pre-season, they have not been a machine. They've won 1 out of their 4 games. The only one being, of course, obviously against Chelsea. Only signed 1 player in the market so far, which is Savio, the Brazilian winger. But the youngsters are impressing in pre-season. James McAtee and Oscar Bob, who we saw quite a bit of last season as well. You'd imagine, so I was looking at kind of senior players that was playing for them regular. It was Grealish, Gvardiol, Haaland, them kind of guys. They had Calvin Phillips at centre-back, believe it or not. So if they start him at centre-back, I mean, yeah, we're going to score loads. But yeah, it won't be the strongest side, Sam. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I don't think you'll see Kevin De Bruyne in his prime best. I don't think you'll see Haaland sharp as fuck, and I don't think you'll see Grealish of the treble winning season. But still, these players are quality players and they are good players. So even if they're in a bad way, they can still cause you problems. They can still put you to the sword, especially if you switch off or you're not quite at it or you don't concentrate fully for the game, which was an issue United suffered with loads. Like, remember, we could not close a game out without conceding because we just switch off. So many times we did it. It did it against Coventry in the FA Cup thing. It did it against Brentford.
Coventry.
Did it against Wolves. But we managed to see that one out. Yeah, so many times we just give away 2-0 leads. It's happened so many times. Even against City in the final, we gave a goal away, which I think Onana probably should have stopped, in my opinion. But yeah, it's always a worry because United always seem to switch off at some point during the game. And when you play the likes of City, if you just gift them an opportunity, they normally take it.
Yeah. Well, you referenced the final there, and I thought one thing United did really, really well, which we'd been screaming for fucking months and months and months, because we'd been conceding 30 plus shots against Brentford, 20 plus against Luton. You know the score with it, what was going on. And we was craving a little bit of pragmatism, be compact, organised, in your shape. And then, you can hit them and in certain areas. I mean, Garnacho holding the width on the right-hand side was obviously where the the second goal came from, wasn't it? Kobbie Mainoo's, and then the Bruno no-look. But yeah, how do you think we can hurt him? Do you think a similar approach, or do you think Pep will be expecting that?
Yeah, I think you'll probably see a 4-2-2 type setup, where you've got your 2 sort of pivots. It's probably going to be Kobbie and Casemiro. And then you're probably going to see...
You didn't even want to say it then, did you? Just the name, Casemiro.
And then you're going to see probably behind them, I would say Ahmad and Mount, I'd imagine. And then Rashford and Bruno are the ones up top. Obviously, Rashford favouring the left end, Bruno operating the thing, and obviously when you're in possession, Ahmad can come out to that right hand side, Mount can push up, and it ends up as a 4-3-3 almost when you're in possession. But out of possession, you sort of drop back a bit and have that sort of stacked, and just sort of stack that midfield, because that's where City are dangerous. If you have that open midfield like we were doing most of the last season, they'll just cut you open like a knife through butter, and it's too easy for them. Especially the likes of like Vardio likes to get in there. You've got Kevin De Bruyne. I don't know if he's available, but if you give him time and space, he'll tear you to pieces, and it's pretty quick 1-2. So yeah, I think if we could do that and could do a similar approach, obviously we haven't got the likes of Amrabat to do that, which is going to make things a lot more difficult. Which basically means Casemiro has to be 100% switched on, and I just don't think he's gonna, because I've seen what he's seen in preseason. I saw what I saw last season, and his idea of like trying to stop things is to rush out, mistime things, either 2-foot somebody or completely miss them, and then they just bypass him, and then it's an opportunity. So yeah, that worries me. The midfield absolutely worries me.
You've just sparked a kind of tactical memory in my brain as well, because I remember doing I think it was the pros and cons after the final, discussing it, and that's what we did. We stifled them in the middle, and we forced them out wide. And they had, like, I think Vardy was playing left back, and then Kyle Walker, who's recovery pace fantastic, but he's not the most technical going forward. I would say he's good at bombing forward, but he's not great on the technical front.
And Pep shut Jeremy Doku down as well. So much that he had to switch to the other side because he couldn't fucking get past him.
But then because these wing backs pushing on more, that's where the space was, and you saw it for Garnacho instantly. So there is a way to do it, but I just think Pep will be expecting it this time, and I think he may do a tactical tweak.
We haven't got the six either. We haven't got the 6 either to do that in the middle. We've got Casemiro and Kobe, and neither one of them are a 6. Neither one of them.
Now it's the $1 million question. $1 million question. But will the mass amount of charges come down on them finally this season, do you think? Because the reason why I say that is, I think autumn time they were saying is when it's going to be. There's a hearing, isn't there, or something? And then by the end of the season, something should have concluded, from what I've read at least. And then it is Pep's last season as well. So 2 questions there for you. 1, do you think they will face the consequences of charges? And 2, do you think they're favourites for the league again?
Define consequences.
So, I don't know, let's say relegation or something. Do you think it'll be that harsh? Or do you think it'll be points and a slap on the wrist kind of thing?
Points and a fine. That'll be it.
What does everyone else think in the chat? City's charges, however many it is now, it's going up, isn't it?
They've got too much money. They've got a legal team that is basically, because this is why it's took this long, is because they haven't cooperated in any sense or any sort of stretch of the imagination. They've basically withheld documents, delayed, put injunctions in place to not let things happen. That's why it's taken this long. Because people are like, why Everton and why who's the other team? Nottingham Forest. Why are they? Yeah. Because they cooperated with the Premier League. They showed them the documents, showed them the things, and that's why it got dealt with quickly. Arguably still got quite harsh, but especially in Everton's case, got quite harsh punishments for their things compared to what City have done, and especially the amount of charges City have done. But yeah, City are they've got too much money, they've got too many solicitors, and I don't believe for a second that the Premier League have enough backbone and are not corrupt to the point that they'll just let them get away with it, and essentially it'd be a big show and dance of, no, they're going to receive a significant points deduction and they get a significant fine, and they've showed us blah, 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 and it'll just be a statement, and they'll hope it all goes away. And essentially it will, because they're state owned and they'll have connections within the government, because obviously now there's going to be a government regulatory body, and we've got big connections to Saudi, which is why the British government allowed Saudi to take over Newcastle. We've got big connections to Abu Dhabi, to Qatar, places like that. So yeah, I don't see anything coming from it, unfortunately. As much as I would love it, if it happened, I'll do a show for 3 hours just celebrating and drinking. But I don't see it. I really don't see it.
Not even just from that perspective, I want it to happen as well. I just think, imagine if it does happen to him, how competitive the league would be. It just open it up completely, I think. Because it's almost becoming a little bit like a Bayern Munich, in it now with City. What, they won 4 in a row?
Yeah.
That's 4 years, 4 in a row. I know Arsenal are getting close, but I think it would open it wide open and just make it much more exciting again.
Villa are coming for the team, so
Yeah,
you could see
yeah,
them.
absolutely. I think the top
Spurs.
10, like when you go through it, like on a level individually, Spurs, like you said there, the players they're recruiting, looking at Solanke, they brought in Archie Gray, I think. Aston Villa have done very good recruitment. Even West Ham that we touched on. So the top 10 now is competitive, but it's just you always know City are going to be thereabouts. They'll hit their momentum during like Christmas or just a little bit after. Every
year as well, they'll be like right about October, November. It's, oh, our City's still good enough. Is it the same team? Blah blah blah. And everybody will be like, oh yeah, Arsenal are gonna take. And then you get past Christmas, and City they just
don't lose.
They just put the foot on the pedal, don't they, and just fuck off into the distance.
They
That's
just
it.
do not lose at all. I think from last season they lost to Villa in early December.
Yeah.
And then from that game, they didn't lose one single game after that, apart from obviously Madrid, the Champions League won it. Just absolute machines, and it kills me to say it because I hate City. I hate City. I hate the fan base. I hate if there's Simon's in the chat, you're all right. But I know a lot of
I like legacy City fans who were fans when they got relegated in League Two and they were facing Gillingham and they've come up. I don't have a problem with them. It's all these fucking jumpers on in the last sort of 10 years. They're the fuckers. I hate those fuckers.
I mean, that Big Steve who does like content around Man City. I remember saying I've gone from Barnsley in League Two to the Bernabeu. So that kind of stuff, you're like, you supported and you've got your thing. That's fair enough. It just, when you're a team, it feels empty, doesn't it? As a team, there's no United is the complete opposite.
No
it's got
no soul.
Yeah, there's no soul with City. Well, that's why I just can't stand them. At least with Liverpool, we don't like Liverpool, but they've got a fan base, they've got a passion, they've got history in Europe and stuff. Anyway, this is going to turn into like a monologue about City. John Mahoney says, if Erik ten Hag wins Saturday, he'll have the same amount of trophies Arteta has won, except a better 3. Now Arteta is challenging, we will win the league by 2029, I bet. Come on, new season. Dan Fenton saying, worry we have is most of the first team players have only just come back to training, so don't think Erik ten Hag will take no chances with them. Saving them for the Fulham game a week on Friday. We're going to get into the predicted 11s very, very shortly. I'm interested to hear Sam's. McMillan saying, isn't the hearing in November? Yeah, so autumn, winter, kind of in between, I think.
I thought it was October, but maybe I'm wrong.
It might be. I don't know. But yeah, within the next couple of months, I'd imagine. Big game player saying City will tell the league what to do, tail wagging the dog.
Yeah. Sounds very familiar.
Yeah. I think the Dirty City 115 cheaters should be relegated to the league, but I bet they get away with it fine. And that's unfortunately shouldn't matter who owns them, but they should be relegated. The ex-Chelsea fans who became City fans. There's the ones. Right. Yeah. Let's move on to ones to watch, Sam. So give me one from City and one from Man United who you think is going to have a good game or who you would worry about on City's side.
City, I don't know who they're going to play. That's the issue. Like, there's a couple of players these things, but...
If I give you Haaland, Grealish, Oscar Bob, let's say Kovacic, for example, something like that, do you think?
Haaland was quiet, wasn't he, in the FA Cup final? Did nothing. Didn't really affect the game at all. And
Reach and Varane together, back.
But that's what happens if you shut off the supply, which is what we did essentially. Because we made, like I said, we made them go wide. If you shut off the supply to him, he doesn't do anything else because he don't build it. He's not a Harry Kane and get involved in build-up play. He's not good at it on the ball and stuff. He just literally is a Ruud van Nistelrooy type, giving the ball and he'll score. If you cut supply off, he's ineffectual. So I think if we can do that, it's fine. But yeah, Guardiola is a very, very good player. I think I rate him very highly, but obviously he made the mistake against United for the goal.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe that's in his head. Maybe that's the thing. Kovacic, I think, is a solid player. I think he's decent. I wouldn't say he's a fantastic player, but solid.
Maybe
player.
Players like Foden might start as well. You just don't know, do you? That's the tricky thing with it.
It's tricky.
You really don't know.
I'll say Gvardiol because I do rate him and I think he's a dangerous player. But yeah, the other ones I'm not sure who's going to play. United, it's going to have to be Bruno, isn't it? Because I think he starts. I know he's only a week in and he's only training thing, but he'll start. So I have to pick him because he's going to be our outlet and our way to goals. I think. It's out because I'll let you pick Ahmad because obviously there's reasons, but yeah, I'll say Bruno.
Yeah, so I was going to go. I mean, Ahmad's an obvious one because I think he has been in great form. There's no two ways about it. But whether he'll start or not is a completely discussion, and we'll talk about that shortly. I'll go Oscar Bob for them. I think he's been in really good form. I see some clips of him in pre-season. Looks very, very sharp. I think he could be the next one to progress into the team. And then for us, I think Lissandro's going to be very, very important if he does start, because I think our back line with Maguire in there, you don't know who's going to start at left back. I think could be a little bit shaky. So in terms of keeping hold of the ball and those line breaking passes that we see him do so often, I'd say Lissandro is going to be an important player for us. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Should we do some quick fire questions? I want to ask you a couple of them. And again, people in the chat, if you are watching this live or watching this later on, do get involved with them as well. So yeah, just put your answers as I go through them, yes or no, or whatever it is. Will both teams score?
Yeah, because I don't see us keeping a clean sheet.
Okay. Expecting a fiery game or KJ?
KJ pre-season.
Mm-hmm. How many years before we close the gap on City?
Depends if they get relegated or not, then then it's irrelevant, isn't it?
But it's, let's say that doesn't happen.
Okay.
How many years in your opinion?
Say 4 or 5.
4 or 5. McMillan 5. Big game player 5. Dan Fenton 3. 5 years. Oh my God, Jesus. Oh, let's hope them charges do come down.
You've got to think as well. Look at all the other teams like we've just been through who are leveling up as well, like Villa, Spurs. Like they're not going to go away in the meantime. Like while we're building, they're still going to build, and they've got a head start already. So it's going to be more difficult. It's not like it's just City. You've got all those other teams around you as well. Let's not forget we finished 8th, lads. Like
I know
7 other teams that we've got to get ahead this season.
Correct. Will Amad Diallo start?
Yes, he has to. If he doesn't, I don't know what the fuck. I have no idea what he has to do. I really don't.
So does that mean you would drop Rashford or Garnacho?
I don't think Garnacho will start just because he's a bit behind in terms of fitness. Because obviously he went to the Copa America final, didn't he? So I don't think he'll start him because we've got options. We've got Rashford, we've got Sancho, we've got other people who could play there. So I don't think he'll risk him.
A lot of people in the chat saying yes, they believe Amad will start. Interesting. This is a given, but it's just funny because I wanted to ask it anyway. Will Casemiro jump into a challenge and get a yellow card?
Yeah, it's just the question is of like when. When is he going to do it?
Yeah, when. Yeah, more of a predict a minute when it'll. I say the first 10 minutes probably he'll get caught out. It won't surprise
first half.
me.
He'll do it in the first half, absolutely.
Yeah. And prediction for man of the match tomorrow night. Tomorrow night? Oh, fucking tomorrow night. Saturday.
Onana, sadly.
Onana. Okay. Just on Onana, expecting a good season from him. He was all right towards the last half.
No, I think there's somebody on the Instagram who every time I post, he brings it back to Onana for some reason. Just every time. And I'm just like, mate, I'm not arguing anymore. I'm done with it. But yeah, strong finish to the end of the season. I thought he was a lot better. Obviously, the Champions League campaign was apocalyptically bad.
Oh, God.
Horrific. So I'm hoping in Europe this time he's a lot better, which I think he will be. I want to see more from playing out from the back because obviously we've got a new goalkeeping coach, and apparently that's what they've been working on. We've got Lissandro. Hopefully we get De Ligt in, and when Yoro comes back, they're very good at that as well. So hopefully we see more of that, which plays to his strengths because that's what we brought him for. Essentially, one is his passing. He's very good at it. So hopefully we see more of that this season.
Yeah, I saw a quote from him saying expect more risks from him this season.
What was the pre-season game where the guy...
Yeah, he spanned the... Who was it now?
Was it
in the Liverpool game, wasn't it?
Was it a Liverpool game?
Was it?
Or was it a Betis game?
I don't know, but I know exactly what you're about.
Yeah,
he kind of back-heeled, turned,
I was
didn't
like,
he? Like,
can you imagine if I'm at Old Trafford against Fulham and he does something like that?
My
heart will be in my fucking stomach, man. Jesus Christ.
No, but I remember, like, I get it because Edison does it, Alisson does it, and sometimes to get caught out. But in terms of progression and which way you want to go, if you're winning games effectively, it'll just be highlighted more if we're losing, and that's exactly what happened. I remember a game.
United as well.
Yeah, do you remember Sheffield at Old Trafford? They had the yellow kit on, and they had that guys from Czech Republic, I think it is, or Chile. One of the things.
Yeah.
And Onana just went to pass it to Dalot, and he just cut it out straight away and scored.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's just little things like that. And you're like, what's that guy's name? Someone will know in the chat. Sheffield.
Betterton Diaz?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I think it might be that. Correct.
He's gone
Yeah.
to actually he's gone to Southampton, so he's going to come to Old Trafford again this season.
Right. Okay. So yeah, hopefully not the same kind of omen there. Right. What did everyone saying in reference to the quick fire questions? John. I can't say his second name. Sorry, John. John Omahone. There we go. Hominy. Let's just say it like that. Straight red for Casemiro apparently.
Fucking hell.
Tim99. Big up Tim saying I think City will decline. I'm more worried about Arsenal. Oh, okay.
They bottle it every year. Fucking bottle
Yeah.
jobs. Absolute bottle jobs.
Bottlers. Jay McGrogan, rather Nick or Sam start or over Anthony and Sancho. Mate, I might not like it, but I promise you, skillfully and technically, I'm actually really good. Just the athletic side of the game, I'm shocking.
I was a winger, actually, when I played. I was a winger, so I can play.
So, there you go, United. Call one of us up, and we can do film some content.
I'll play for free as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll be blown out my ass after 5 minutes, but we'll give it a good go. Onana says John for Man of the Match, I think. Dan says Ahmad. McMillan says Mason Mount. That's a great shout. Big game player says Foden. John saying he still made a mistake for Doku goal in the final.
Yeah.
Rich is saying Man of the Match, Harry or Johnny Evans. Okay, very interesting. Johnny Evans, I don't think he should start, to be fair. Will City fill their end this Saturday? That is the biggest question.
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely.
Will they fuck? Right, predicted 11, Sam. Let's get you. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I've got yours on the screen first, so you go ahead.
Mine on the screen first. So Onana is going to go in net. No two ways about it. That's definitely a certified. Diego Dalot at right back. If you know how he applies himself, how fit he keeps himself, he'll be ready for the start of the season. Same thing with Bruno. So Dalot at right back. Maguire and Alessandro, because I think that's the best pairing you can get, given the options at the minute. Obviously, I would rather start Euro, but he's out for 3 months.
Yeah.
Shaw was a difficult one because I'm like, I don't know if he'll start, but I'm hoping, because who else are you going to fucking put there in reality? Who else are you going to go? Honestly, just, yeah. I'm about to play at fucking left back, so it's probably Lindelof of it.
Do you want Lindelof there?
Oh, Wan-Bissaka, but then you're risking him as well, and it's just like, ugh. So Shaw, I'm praying. Casemiro, Manu, and Mount I've gone with. Yeah. I think Mount's been terrific in pre-season. He's been in really good form. Ahmad on the right because he deserves to start, and it's going to be his season. He should definitely be on there. But then I think they'll go with Bruno as the false nine. I don't think Jadon Sancho will start. I'd be very surprised if he did. And then Marcus Rashford on the left, simply because of his record against Man City. And we remember the goal that he scored. Was it at the Etihad last season? Barring in.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
whoa.
And then disappeared for the rest of the game.
Yeah, disappeared. But he has got a good record against City, so I'd expect him to start. That's the way I'd go. What are you saying?
I've got a different defense, obviously Onana, but I've got Wan-Bissaka at right back and I've got Dalot at left back because I don't know how fit Shaw is. I don't know if he's gonna look at him and be like, he's barely played last season. He started 1 game for England or 2 games for England. How many games did he start? Yeah.
The final one. He didn't start any. He had minutes, so he came off the bench.
Trippier. I'm sure he started a game. I'm sure
the final.
The final, right?
Started the final,
and then he barely had minutes in the tournament. So I'm like, how fit is this guy? Like, is he that fit? And he's only been in training for a week. So I'm like, how fit is he? So I was like, Dallow's probably going to be left back. Going to be Casemiro, Manu, Bruno. I think because that's his favorite midfield. It seems, and we haven't got 6, and that's the way he seems he wants to play. I've got Rashford on the left just because I wouldn't pick Rashford personally, but I just think he's played every game in pre-season. Ten Hag loves to play him no matter what. I think he's going to start. Ahmad has to start because I think he's been our best player in pre-season. Hopefully he gets a lot of minutes. Ten Hag has said he's going to get minutes. He's a big part of the team. They're going to do a new contract, so hopefully that. I don't think Anthony played 10 minutes and got injured, pulled off. Garnacho's only been back a week, so I'm like, is he fit? I don't know. I don't think he's starting. And I put Sancho because he spoke so much about playing Sancho and Bruno as false nines. So I think they might interchange. So I think you might see Sancho drop back and Bruno come up. I think you might see that sort of swap out in between. So I think that's what's going to happen. But yeah, that's my guess for the predicted 11.
Nice. Richard has gone Rash, Ahmad, Bruno, Xerxes. I think it's going to start Xerxes. That's very interesting. Richard has also said Toby and Kobe Toby and Copper. Big game players, that's the worst, but also the best question. How many injuries this Saturday, Sam?
Oh, fuck off. Why are you putting this into the fucking universe, man? I don't need
Because
that
you know it's
shit.
going to happen. You know it's going to happen.
Can it be...
So
Can it be like Bay Day or something in the warm up? Like, just
yeah,
I'll take.
We'll take that. No offense, by Altai.
He's not going to play. Like he's not going to play.
Unless we get Newport in the cup.
Yeah.
Onana, Dan Fenton saying Onana, Delo, Maguire, Martinez, Amas, and Casemiro, Mainu, Mount. Bruno was false 9, and Ahmad on the right, and Rashford on the left. Irfan, I never watched Man United win the EPL or UCL. I only watch PS5 HD Live. Okay. Does anyone remember years back when Barca played without a striker and a 6-man midfield? Yeah, just overwhelming the amount of numbers.
Barca all over that, though, isn't it? They're all about the midfield. All about the midfield.
Haaland is a monster. McMillan saying Bruno, Sancho, and Ahmad can interchange at the false 9 right-wing positions.
That's what I thought.
And for God's sake, no injuries, please, says Dan. Now, the ultimate moment, Sam, is what we go for. You kick us off with score predictions, because I kicked us off with...
3-1 City.
Oh, ouch. Start the season off. I've actually gone 2-2 and United to win on pens.
You go to penalties?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, I'm like an idiot if we don't.
Yeah.
Does it go to penalties? Let's go to VAR on this one. So, let's find out.
Is there any extra time? Or is it just like, it's a draw, just straight to pens?
I'm sure it should go pens. However, unlike in most competitions where only 5 subs are permitted, teams of Community Shield are permitted 6 substitutions. If the scores are level after 90 minutes, the teams play a penalty shootout.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
So 2-2 or 1-1, I think it goes to pens, straight to pens, and United win on pens.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with. Yeah. So look, regardless, whichever way you look at it, it is the Community Shield. It's not the absolute end of the world if we do lose. But it is still Man City. It's a derby.
Yeah.
And we've already got one over him in the FA Cup final. So I would like to win. I'd like to carry that momentum into the season and start well against Fulham. Because if you lose, let's say your prediction becomes true, Sam, and we lose 3-1, and it's a little bit more negativity starts to creep in then. And then you're like, when's the signings going to come in? And then if you have a bad performance against Fulham, you can almost set yourself back then for the next 2-3 weeks. So I would rather us, and I'm sure you would as well, have a good, solid performance against City, beat them, and then springboard off that and some positivity, get some players in and start the season as we should. But whether that happens or not,
I would love that. I really would love that. I think it's going to be a rocky start to the season, in my opinion. I think it's going to be rough. Like, we've had a couple of injuries already. Obviously, the transfers are dragging on, which means they're not going to get in and be integrated, and it's going to take some time and stuff like that. There's probably going to be more injuries, hopefully not to the level of last season, because Jesus Christ. So I think it's going to be a rocky start this season. I think it's going to take a bit. So I think people are going to have to expect some short-term pain for the long-term gain. I think that's just how it's going to be for the first couple of months. Like, just ride it out, stay united, stay together, and we'll get through this. And then out the other side, we'll be stronger and better for it. But it's going to be rocky for a bit, man. It's going to be rocky.
John says Fulham at home is as good as a fixture you could want. We got beat by Fulham at home last season. Let's not forget that.
I also was at that game. Do you remember was it FA Cup where like 4 people got sent off, including the manager?
Yeah. That was the first watch along I did on Paddock. That.
Yeah, absolutely. Mental.
Mitrovic, Marco Silva, Willian as well, was it? I think it went.
Yeah.
Sabitzer scored as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
I think in that game.
He did.
So yeah, I mean, if it's like that, then fucking that's fantastic. So it was a very entertaining game. I think that we put a clip up on Instagram. I think it got 1.9 million views or something. Was it
1.4 million? Yeah, it's our best
from
performing
game.
reel ever. Weirdly,
mad. And that just shows algorithms love fucking controversial moments or things like that. Sam, everything works out even football, says Richard.
Okay.
Big game player, very rough start. Eric Ten Hag out by October. Rude takes over. Jesus Christ. Right, let's not start going down rabbit holes of who the next coach is going to be and why we're going to lose and stuff. I'm going to stay positive. I think we're going to beat City. I think we're going to have a good start to the season. I'm just going to stay in that mind frame because I cannot deal with another season like last year.
No.
It just cannot happen. And if that does happen, then
I'll just give up.
Yeah. We'll change this to real cricket talk or something and start fucking doing T20s or something.
Let's do a film podcast and just talk about film because Fuck dealing with that season again. Not doing it.
Everyone cross the fingers and hope not. And hope we beat City. Do smash a like on the video for us if you can. Subscribe to the channel. If you have no content to watch and you missed the show that me and Shreyas did this afternoon in terms of why we are struggling to sell so many players and why we've had issues with outgoing for a long, long while, then make sure you check that out. It was a very in-depth, detailed show. And it was, very fun filming it. So if you did miss it, you know where it's at. Apart from that, me and Sam will see you guys again tomorrow. I'll be live at 12 o'clock and we should both be back at 7. And we've also got a couple of things coming up on the channel as we mentioned this past couple of days, to be fair, so you guys already know. Anything else, Sam, before we go?
Follow all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all that stuff, all your news and your funny clips and what have you. We're going to do the big season preview. It's going to be either Sunday, Tuesday or Thursday next week. One of those days we're going to do it. And we're
trying to pencil it and trying to get as many on as possible.
We're going to get at least 4 or 5 of us on, if not everybody, but we're going to try and get as many as possible on to do the big season preview. So that'll be a feature length video, probably going to be an hour and a half or something like that. So maybe you want to sort of block it out or watch it in chunks or what have you. But yeah, that's going to be really, really fun because it's always good, that one, because some of the predictions are always
I enjoy it,
absolutely mental. Like, should I ask predict West Ham for the top 4 one year or something like that?
Yes, and he said someone else top goal scorer. I can't remember who it was, but I was like, oh, fucking hell.
There's always some shouts.
It's rare nowadays we have so many of us on. We used to have it quite frequently, but obviously the lads are busy and stuff with other things going on, so it's one of them. But yeah, just want to say, last thing, you guys, appreciate you. We tell you every single show. The community is building every single day. There's loads of nice people that are coming in, new people who have been here for a while. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for consistently watching and bringing your opinion. And hopefully it's going to get more exciting. More and more people come into the chat and the memberships and stuff. Whilst obviously football kicks off in the Premier League. And yeah, excited, very, very excited. So me and Sam will see you guys in the next one. In a bit.
Peace.